Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Stacy, and on this channel we are discovering this planet, universe, solar system, galaxy, whatever you want to call it, and everything that is in it, including energy, vibrations, physics, everything, especially things connected to like human emotions. So today we are going back to real talk. I told y'all I wanted to do this like once a week, and I think that's going to be a goal in 2023 to do real talk once a week. In real talk, we are going to talk about everything, whatever comes to mind, because that's real talk. That's what it is. Yep. Give me a second. So, here's what it is. I have been getting a lot of people lately asking me, what do you believe in? Honestly, the honest answer is I'm spiritual, not religious. And my honest answer to when I am asked, what do I believe in, is I believe that there is something bigger than me. I believe that there is a higher power, but I also believe that that power resides in me as part of the creation of the divine. I am part of the creation of the divine, which makes me divine. So therefore, the power that the divine holds, I also hold. So they can create, I can create, and so on and so forth. So I'm believing that I'm going to say that I see God as a genderless being of light, full of unconditional love. That is what I believe God is. This is a being that loves us no matter what we do as humans. This being has put part of itself in us to experience every aspect of its own creation, because as the creator, it could not experience its creation. And as the creator of unconditional divine love, that is their being, that is their essence, that is them. They can't really experience love because they are love. So this being created a whole universe to experience itself. And on Earth, we have what is called duality, as in masculine, feminine, positive, negative, good, bad, love, hate, whatever. Actually, the opposite of love is actually apathy, but we won't go there. That's another belief system for another time. And here on Real Talk today, we're going to talk about the divine. I believe that's what we're going to do. So it could go off on a tangent too, because I am known for tangents. That being said, my belief is a little different than other people's beliefs. So it's a little out there, it's a little esoteric, it's a little whatever. I believe that the Greeks and the Romans, their gods were actually beings from other planets, aka aliens, that are more advanced than us, that were trying to show us and guide us on our paths. So that being said, I also think that, the Egyptian gods, also same thing. Any pantheon of gods, same thing. These were beings from other worlds that were sent here to help us evolve and grow and learn and process and become the race that we are becoming as humans. But here's a problem. We're humans. We have free will. We're humans. We have free will. So, with that being the problem, we have the ability to choose which path we take. And right now, because how do we say it? The more gratuitous paths tend to be more negative right now, like violence, destruction, war, killing, hate, genocide, all those things. But as humans, there are some people that are put on this planet to go through some really shitty shit in order to grow immensely as a being. Now, here's another thing that I believe. We are eternal spiritual beings living a temporary human existence on this planet. We are here for many lifetimes, but we come here to forget. We come here to forget our true spiritual nature in order to remember it again. So we have all these lessons on our path that we have to learn. And as we go, there are traumas, abuses, programming, conditioning, society, family, all these things that interact with our being that cause us to go off track. And our real track, as I've said, this divine being is literally unconditional love. So our real path is to find and center ourselves in our own unconditional love for self. And to do that, you have to unprogram yourself from the matrix. So what happens is you start to doubt everything. You lose faith, you lose trust, you lose yourself, your ego, that part of you that is self-preserving, self-motivated, how do you say it? Narcissistic in nature. Everyone has narcissistic habits and tendencies. It's kind of like writing from birth. So your ego or your self is not your higher self, which is there for your greatest good, and we tend to ignore our higher self. So your ego wants you to be afraid. Your ego wants you to be afraid, to be scared to do things, because it wants to preserve you. So if it thinks you're going to get hurt, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, however it feels that you're going to be hurt, it will cause fear in you and make you anxious, nervous, and worried. So what happens is that fear breeds doubt, and that doubt turns inward. So you now have fear and doubt living inside of your being, which is meant to promote unconditional love. But fear and doubt can't exist with unconditional love, because unconditional love means that you love without conditions, so there's no fear behind the love. There's no fear, and you don't doubt yourself because you know that you're meant to love. So once you find that true unconditional love and support for yourself, you start to evolve and change in ways that a lot of people around you are not gonna like. Because instead of being self-preserving and doing for others in order for them to like you, love you, whatever, you become another way of self-preserving. So you start setting boundaries. Like, I can love you unconditionally, but I don't have to accept this treatment in my life. So while I can love you unconditionally, I can put you over here while I go over here and work on me and my goals, my dreams, while you just keep your toxic self over there. And we learn and we grow and we evolve and we become who we are meant to be. And that is a true being of unconditional love and light and support for others on this planet, but mainly ourselves. So there are beings that come to this planet that are meant to deal with really heavy trauma, childhood abuses, and things of that nature, like adult trauma in childhood, adult level trauma in childhood. And when this happens, you're programmed a certain way. Because of the trauma breeds fear and doubt and hate and pain and sorrow and grief and agony. And when that happens, you lose sight of your unconditional love for self, because there are things that are happening beyond your control. Now, mind you, we cannot control what another human being chooses to do. Whether it's to us, themselves, the world, the planet, we cannot control that. We can help, we can guide, we can offer advice, and we can offer love. That is it. We can only control our actions, our reactions. Like, that is the only thing that we can control. You cannot control another human's actions and another human's reactions, because those are completely under each human being's control. And while they are under our control, you essentially have no control over your emotions and your environment. Sometimes you can't even control that. So, while we are meant to live in a state of chaos around us, our being is supposed to be peaceful and loving and kind. And then when we do that with ourselves, the chaos kind of disappears. Ooh, sorry, I got incense in my face. But the chaos around us disappears, and we become one with the universe, with the divine, with other beings on this planet. And as one, we realize that our actions do affect others, but their reaction is more about them, and their actions are more about them than us. So while our actions and reactions affect other people, we have no control over how they affect them. There is a deep-seated need in humans to be loved. And when you are a child and you don't receive that love the way that you think that you're supposed to receive it, and you receive it in yelling, berating, badgering, abuse, among other things, you tend to either become those things or go completely away from them. In my case, I tend to love, even though I've been traumatized to my core as a child. I have recently started having the hard conversations with the people in my life that were part, even though they may not have realized it, but were part of my trauma. And in having those hard conversations with those people in my life, I've realized the first person you have to forgive, the hardest person you have to forgive, is yourself. But it's also the deepest healing person you need to forgive. Because in forgiving yourself, you are showing yourself that unconditional compassion, love, and faith and hope. Because if you can forgive yourself, and we all know we've done some fucked up shit in our lives. Like, even a saint isn't completely a saint. I'm sorry. At one point, something happened to them, or they did something that caused them to turn to that divine person, that divine ideology. So when that happens, it's so much harder to break free of the conditioning and the programming, because now you're being reprogrammed in another way. So there is all kinds of programming, and here's what you need to understand about being programmed, conditioned by society, our family, our friends, our peer groups, the people around us, and our environment. When you are conditioned and you are programmed from birth to believe certain things, when you get older and everything starts to not make sense, and you start questioning everything around you, people start to fall away. People start to back up. People start to just kind of leave because they're not able to reach your growth level at the time. Now, there are people that fall away and then they come back, and they fall away and they come back because you're in a growth cycle. You're in a karmic kind of growth cycle. So usually those people, they just kind of fade out and fade in and fade out and fade in throughout your whole life. And sometimes we realize that those cycles are also part of what needs to stop. So we start to look in ourselves and love ourselves and respect ourselves and show ourselves that love and compassion. And when we start doing that, the more toxic people tend to just leave. They just go because they can't deal with unconditional love because they're toxic. So once you start unconditionally loving yourself and those around you, they can't deal with that. They're used to you being a giver because they were a taker. They're used to you giving and giving and giving to them and not giving to yourself. So when you fall back, they run. When you start focusing more on you and you fall back into yourself instead of everything around you, these toxic people tend to just go. Now, sometimes they go with a fight, an argument, a disagreement, And sometimes they go with stuff that makes you look inside and show you places that you still need to heal. And that's okay too, because we're here for personal growth. We're here to develop our being. We're here to learn. We're here to grow as a being, as a spiritual being. And we need to learn our lessons. And in order to learn those lessons, you have to learn how to heal. You're not going to find your lesson if you're not healing from it, because you're going to stay hurt and revengeful, and you're going to stay in those negative vibrations longer because you're not willing to heal yourself. So that is where you need to start. And this has gotten pretty long on Real Talk. So for real, I'm going to leave some more of this for another time. Keep being easy.